A shift may be coming to Shoreline East trains. The state is proposing a switch from electric engines back to diesel. NBC Connecticut transportation reporter Andrew Rowan explains the cost-saving move and what it means for passengers.
Tonight, a transition on the tracks as DOT proposes switching Shoreline East trains from electric back to diesel.
We were asked to find savings. This was, we believe, to be the most, appealing one to not have to cut service anywhere in the state.
The savings, $8.8 million, because on an electric train, the state has to pay Amtrak just to access the electric wire.
On the New Haven line, because those are our overhead wires, we actually don't have to pay an access charge to use those. And you can't bring diesel equipment into Grand Central Terminal.
So this shows up 2 weeks ago, and what do you think?
You're like, oh no.
Susan Feaster is the founder of the Shoreline East Riders Advocacy Group and says the switch back to 1990s train cars is a downgrade.
And they're just dirty and old.
Compared to the M2 train cars, riders say these diesel cars are slower and louder.
You can't really see out the windows on most of them.
They also lack electrical outlets and higher seat backs.
It's always Shoreline East that either doesn't get the service or has to make up the downfall for their budget.
DOT says the train cars were recently overhauled and have very good reliability. They're the same ones used on the Hartford line, which are set to be replaced by this prototype early next year. And amid rising operational costs, DOT tells NBC Connecticut, when faced with the choice of service reductions or equipment swaps, CTDOT has recommended equipment swaps. Still, they point to reduced ridership since COVID amid the rise of work from home.
How do we get the passenger volume back to where it was pre-pandemic?
That is a great question.
Feaster says they've already built housing around train stations. Now she says they need more trains to improve ridership.
So now I want to ask Governor Lamont, are you going back on your word? You said get your numbers up and build transit-oriented development, and we'll give you trains.
Now, the governor's office says Shoreline East has the highest subsidy per rider in the state, and they say they have to balance that with the long-term health of what's called the Special Transportation Fund, which is projected to run a deficit later this decade. Kevin, on the line right now, you saw in the piece, 2 out of the 3 train sets are already diesel, and that is not going to be permanent. It's temporary. If the switch is approved, July 1st is when those diesel trains would go into effect.
If it's transportation in Connecticut, this guy, Andrew Rowan, will have the very latest. Andrew, thank you for that.